The Glazers have taken Manchester United into a state of disrepair over these last 20 years, and the floods at Old Trafford after Arsenal were a perfect metaphor for that. Old Trafford was once the biggest and best stadium in England. Now, water is bursting through ceilings, and the stairs look more like a water park than a football stadium.
Oh my fucking words. Look at the state of this. It's a fucking river.
Visually, nothing will sum up the huge task ahead of INEOS more than this, and just why so many United fans hate even the mention of the Glazers' name. I think it's fair to say that it's been raining all season as far as Manchester United fans are concerned, but seeing those images, all right, seeing this beamed around the world, Old Trafford, once upon a time, the best stadium in England, one of the best stadiums in world football, iconic. Look at the state of it. Look at the state of that. Health and safety, off you pop. Genuinely dangerous situation. And Manchester United, I say Manchester United, the Glazers, I say the Glazers, I'm in INEOS now. They are so lucky that rain didn't fall 30 minutes earlier, because otherwise there would have been thousands of people running away from their seats and the pictures would have been 10 times worse. And look, the reason I'm doing this video is because it's really quite sad how much of a perfect metaphor those images are for the downfall of Manchester United. Nothing will sum it up more. What the Glazers have done to this football club, and why for years and years and years so many United fans spoke out against it. They didn't do anything else apart from take dividends out of the club. They used it as a cash cow to the point now where it's not just a leaky roof. It's not even just leaks in the dressing room. It's floods down the concourse, flat down the stairs. It's insane. Now, I have had some fantastic memories in Old Trafford. I don't get to go much anymore. I'm working too much, watching this abysmal football team. But it still has its moments, and it still has an allure when you walk into it. It has something I suppose you can't really explain until you go and see it, and you go and feel it yourself as a United fan. But Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, right, they've built this Old Trafford task force with Seb Coe, with Gary Neville, with Andy Burnham from the mayor as a mayor of Manchester, all geared towards building the best plans for what is next for Manchester United. Is it an Old Trafford renovation, or is it a new stadium? If it's what Jim Ratcliffe wants to get, it is a new stadium. He wants the Wembley of the North. All right, he's not really hidden his intentions. He always wants it. And then when you see stuff like this, you're like, I mean, how much work would actually go into... You look at renovating and regenerating Old Trafford as a cheaper alternative to a brand new stadium, but the scale of the renovation, I mean, it'll be north of 500 million. There'll be stadiums cheaper. There'll be new stadiums built cheaper than how much it would cost for Manchester United to renovate Old Trafford. And yesterday, Jim Ratcliffe went a step further. Keir Starmer was at Old Trafford, Labour leader, Labour, and they better do, hoping to win the next election. Therefore, Jim Ratcliffe is pretty much potentially speaking to the next Prime Minister of this country. And he wants to get some private funds to help with not the build of Old Trafford, which a lot of people are going to keep shouting and saying, but to do with the whole Trafford regeneration plan and project. That's Old Trafford there. And I've already done quite a lot of detail and quite a lot of videos on this, so I don't need to speak about it in too much detail here. But this whole area inside the red lines is the regeneration project. That's why a task force has been created and is run by Seb Coe, who led with the build, I think, of the 2012 Olympic Stadium in London. Jim Ratcliffe wants a new stadium up north. All right. If Jim Ratcliffe gets his own way, and owners typically do, right? They are the owners. The Glazers have got what they wanted for how many years? Despite our protests, literally protests, and despite everything else that was said, they still just ignored everybody. They still just let our football club run into a complete state of disrepair as long as they got what they wanted out of it. They didn't care about the damage that they left behind. And if Jim Ratcliffe gets his own way, then Old Trafford is not going to be Manchester United's home in the future. And there is a huge part of me that would just be a terrible idea. Maybe not a huge part of me. I don't know what I am as a percentage split, but I really do think that a new stadium is needed for Manchester United. I really, really do. As much as I would love the idea that Old Trafford could be brought back to its former glory, could be brought into the modern world. It's just about got Wi-Fi. Everything else that comes in between, get just the whole stadium needs not just a lick of paint, not just a new roof. It would kind of be ultimately like stripping Old Trafford back to its bare bones and rebuilding it brick by brick from the inside out. And then where would Manchester United play in the meantime? Who are we going to do a shit? There's problems everywhere. And of course, there's problems with the new stadium. How do you finance it? That's why Jim Ratcliffe is speaking to Keir Starmer to hopefully get public funds in that sense. But just seeing these images yesterday they're not haunting. That's the wrong way to describe it. But that is legitimately a full river running down the stairs at Old Trafford. You know how insane that is? It's a joke. It'll be a joke at a non-league club. It's Manchester United we're talking about. The biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you have a river running down the stairs of your stadium. There's legitimate floods running around your pitch. Sure, it was a 1 inch of rain. It was unforeseen. Never sod that. Old Trafford should be able to cope with that. Of course it should. And it's embarrassing that it isn't. And it's why I didn't need that to lean toward the fact that I think a new stadium is ultimately going to prove to be the best course of action. But it's just like, boy, how much work would really need to be done? I think it's just bigger than anybody thinks it is. And I'm not saying the concept of going to a new stadium is perfect. It's fraught with problems and nostalgia and memories and everything you'll be leaving behind. I wouldn't be missing much of what we've left behind over the last 10, 15 years. Well, 10 years, that's for sure. But where do you stand on it all? Has seeing Old Trafford like this changed anything for you? I'm not sure it's changed anything for me, but it's kind of reinforced my idea that I just think when all is said and done, a new stadium is going to be what's best for United.